Hey underdogs, this is Underdogs Rise, and we rise together. Have you ever struggled with managing your nervous system? Because I have. I have struggled with it for decades of my life. Not only that, the thoughts that arise. I didn't know the benefits of being able to communicate with my body. I just thought if I spoke, that in itself would be enough for me to help me move. Because it's not only our mind that is always listening and our heart, our body is always listening too. It may even be listening more intently than what we can imagine in this moment. Because have you ever thought, why can't I understand logically? Because I have. I went through life feeling life, and life is meant to be felt. That is true. But there was also parts of my life where I was just simply avoiding it. Because when your body reacts in danger, it goes back to those patterns that you've learned. So today I'm going to be talking about nervous system regulation. I'm still very much on this journey about this. And I want to share some of the things that I've learned over my time since my self-development journey. Have you ever explored the sensations between when you are feeling unsafe and when you are in a place of truth? Because I want to talk about the importance of breath. Now, I battled with anxiety for 20 years of my life, and it became such a significant time, those 20 years, because when I choose to go back there, I remember how strong I was because I kept on going. But one thing that stands out for me when I go back to those moments when I was having panic attacks is that I wasn't breathing correctly. I was breathing from my chest. And I can remember so vividly the tightness and the restriction that I felt in my chest each and every time that I felt anxious, I felt nervous, I was getting out of my comfort zone. Because what was happening is that I was rejecting myself. I didn't understand the importance of breath and how to regulate my nervous system through breath. Because regulating our nervous system isn't just about not just feeling anxiety or feeling nervous or feeling overwhelmed again. It's more about being able to experience the emotion without it taking you with it. So I'm going to talk to you about deep belly breathing. And this is something that I've recently learned, and I'm incorporating it into my daily practice. Now, I haven't got all the answers. I am still very much perfectly imperfect. But I attended a few breathwork sessions a number of weeks ago, And this is something that I have incorporated in my day-to-day practice since those sessions. So you can do this with your eyes closed or your eyes open. Placing your hand, one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. And to breathe in through your nose, but to feel your tummy expand as you do this. And breathe out through your mouth. And to do that for 30 breaths. And I had an experience in Thailand where there was similar sort of breath work, and it was a revelation for me to being able to regulate my nervous system. And I'd forgotten about that. And while I was at this, this event a number of weeks ago, I found myself emulating the breath work there. Because I feel that my nervous system knew where to go with it. Because when we're feeling anxious, we are experiencing so many thoughts of yesterday. Times have gone by, and not experiencing the moment itself. Because anxiety can control, when you give it the permission to, it can control your next decision. Even before doing this, coming on here, I was experiencing anxiety. And any form of movement, because our bodies and minds are wired to reward it, any form of movement can break that cycle. So that breathing exercise I spoke about earlier, and I briefly showed you, is movement. It can help you. And the second one is the importance of pausing. Now, I am still managing this myself, because how often do you react before you actually know what is happening? It's about exploring the space between the trigger and the response. And how regulation can happen in that space. This is where breathwork comes into play, because of how it allows your body to attune to what is going on in the present moment. And that is your breathing. Because when you're experiencing anxiety, I said this earlier, when you're experiencing anxiety, your breath is very shallow and it's very erratic. When triggered, you become defensive and you people please and you overthink, or you just simply push someone away. And that's not because, we don't care. But it's a survival mechanism that your body's trying to protect you. And also your mind. What is your first instinct when you feel emotionally threatened? And what would happen if you paused just for a moment before you reacted to it? This is something that I will be practicing with you. Because the idea is not to suppress your emotion, because I've done that. I have avoided every single emotion from my childhood, young adults, and now I am in the process of learning to navigate through them and not to avoid them. And that is a real challenge. Maybe you can relate. Because the idea is to become safe enough with yourself that you know how to respond to yourself in those moments in a way that is compassionate, loving, sincere, and it's creating the value within yourself which builds self-trust. It's not about automatically reacting as you used to, but it's about reacting in the moment when you're becoming someone new. So I hope this all makes sense. And underdogs rise, and we rise together.